Yes. All right. I've got it recording. So first of all, you get to all do your moment of happy dance that we got our Zoom back. Yay. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for all of you, right? Because for me, it's one thing, but for you, it's a much bigger deal. So I'm super grateful that Sam was able to work with Zoom and that Zoom was able to kind of pull their heads out and fix it so that we could use their platform. Um, and I just want you to know that even before Sam sent that email last week saying we couldn't use it, he really was. I know Sam well, and he and I had been talking a lot, and he really did try everything he could to see get them to realize what they needed it to be in order for it to really be safe. So he wasn't trying to push his platforms and he wasn't trying to keep us from using it, but his entire job is to make sure our students' information is safe, which I'm glad he takes seriously. So I just want to put that out there for those of you that don't know Sam. I do. And he's a very good man and he does really amazing things really fast for us. And so I just wanted you to know the context of him and what he's all about.
Shelley,
Yes.
two things.
So
First of all, we are all in agreement that we are happy that you are our special ed director.
well, that is
Everybody
good.
feels very, very happy about that. And you can read that later, but
Okay.
there were many comments that came through. But also people are just clarifying that it's okay to do IEP meetings through Zoom.
It is. It is. You just need to follow. When Sam sent his email yesterday, had all those presets and those are required, right? So he told you how to do all the settings in Zoom and he asked us to change your password. And if you don't know how to change your password, you just say you forgot your password and it will make you set up a new one. And so that's easy to do. Um, so you can have meetings on Zoom and you can meet with kids on Zoom. You just need to make sure you're following all those presets that he outlined. And everybody got that email, I believe. So you should have it. But if you don't, for some reason, let us know and we can you. Okay? So that's exciting. So I have a couple of things that are just more like announcement things first. So I wanted to go through those first. So the first one is that Antonio is going to be sending Scram out. We still have to do that, but he is trying to majorly streamline it. So I don't know exactly what that's going to look like yet, but he just know you're going to be getting an email from him, and we're going to try to like not have to have too many things that need to go back and forth or things like that because that's just too complicated. So he's going to make sure we're going to get that out there so you have plenty of time to get it back to us before we have to turn it in. And so I just wanted you to know that that was coming. And then the other thing is I'm going to be sending an email out from that Liliana has asked me to send about getting reimbursed. Getting reimbursed is a little complicated right now. The good news is the district has lifted the 60-day requirement. You know how you had to turn them in within 60 days. They've lifted that. And so right now you can take a picture or scan your receipt and fill out the form and send it to most of you are sending them to your secretaries, but some people get their reimbursements right from Antonio. And you can send it in to Antonio and Liliana if you're a speech person and get reimbursed, but you need to save the original receipts because at some point they're going to require those. So just like make a little envelope for your receipts and just tuck them all in there. And Amy, I'm just seeing Amy's question.
Yeah, we have a couple questions. So
I'm taking your job. Go ahead.
no, that's okay. But first, well, go ahead and answer that budget. And then there's the report on the Scram minutes. If we go back to Scram, are they supposed to report the minutes that they have during the school year or now?
I don't know. I'll find out. I hadn't even thought about that. It's a good thing Lori Kopaz works for us and thinks about those things. And as far as like rolling money over, I saw that question. Probably, but we're just going to kind of wait and see what happens next, if that's okay, before we make any final decisions on rolling budgets over, if that's all right. We're just going to kind of see what happens next.
So I'll make a note that you'll get back to us on the Scram minutes.
Beautiful. Somebody write that down as make the tasks for Shelley list. Okay, there's always one of those. Okay, so those two things are fairly straightforward. Another little announcement I have to make is that I know that you guys know all of us and you're super comfortable asking us questions, but if you have questions about like a student device, or kids are having trouble logging in, we can't really help you with that. So if it's a device problem or like a software isn't working, that's an IT question, and they have a Teams help desk, which I know Teams is sometimes it's a 4-letter word sometimes in our department, but they are actually really responsive and get back to you really fast. So if you're having trouble with a device, that's the best place to call. If you are struggling with like, I don't quite get how Canvas works, then our ed tech department in our district also has a help desk, and they run these little 30-minute sessions where they will share your screen and help you learn how to use Nearpod or WebEx or whatever it is. And they consistently are rotating through using Teams and Canvas, because those are the most often asked questions. So they're the right people for that, because we know what the platforms are, and beyond that, we pretty much know what you know, and a lot of you know way more than I know. I can tell you that right now. So just make sure that if it's a device issue, then that's the regular IT place. And there's those 4 schools, which I should have looked up, but in Lexi's the superintendent's updates every week, she talks about those 4 schools where there's an IT person sitting there, and kids can go in and exchange their devices. I think it's like Hillside and Rose Park, and there's 2 more that I'm forgetting. But parents can also go there and ask their questions in person if they need to or want to. Or I've even asked the help desk a question on behalf of a parent, and they've said, can we call the parent? And I ask the parent, and the parent says yes, and I give them the phone number, and they connect and they figure it out. So they're being super responsive. Just know that we just don't know enough. So we can't help you with those things. If a parent is struggling with logging into an iPad or whatever it might be, those are questions for them. So that's something you need to know. Some of you emailed me questions, and then I also kind of asked the consultants what kinds of things were coming up when I formed the agenda. So somebody asked a good question about, so is what we're doing now what we're doing now that we've had our really hard announcement that we're not coming back to school this year. Even though I knew it was coming, it was harder when it actually came than I kind of anticipated it, because I knew it was going to happen eventually. But what you're doing now is what you're going to do, so that nothing's going to change as far as, unless you decide to change a service delivery option for a student. But we're going to keep trying to contact people. We're going to keep running our little groups or handing out packets or whatever it is you've decided to do for your students, and you've got something whatever you've got going on for your kids, we're just going to keep doing those things. So you're all set up now, right? That's the big heavy initial lift. It should be close to over for you if it's not over yet, and then it's more about maintaining. I did have some questions about, continuing to document people you know, if we're calling and no one ever answers, do we need to keep documenting that? And the answer is yes, because I honestly don't know exactly what documentation we're going to need and what we're not going to need. So I need everybody to just keep writing it down. If you are at a point where it's been a couple of weeks and you can't get anyone to respond, if you want to back it off a little bit and just call once a week to see if you can get someone to respond, that's good. That's okay, right? You don't have to badger, you don't have to stalk people creepily. Don't do that. So if it's time to back it off, then that's okay. But don't quit completely, right? We want to be able to show that we kept trying even though we got no response.
So
And
we're having a couple of questions. Well, first of all, someone found Sarah Harward. Thank you very much. She found the locations. It's Liberty, Mountain View, and Rose Park.
okay.
And then, okay, a couple of other questions, and you may be going to answer this, but access to buildings to make copies. People are getting different, I think, information about that. Like some people are saying they can only go in for 15 minutes, which would be hard to plan and make copies. And so they're asking if they can get to the district office, but we're not being let into the district office either. I don't know, Shelley, do you want to address that? And then we have another question too.
So that's good for me to know. My understanding is that the administrators have been told that teachers need to make an appointment with them to come into the building. That's what I have to do. I've been to the district office once since all of this started, and I had to ask my supervisor, who asked the superintendent if it was okay for me to be in there, and I had to tell him how long, and all those kinds of things, because they're just kind of keeping track of who's in the building and how many people are in the building. So I will, let me ask, and I can ask that specific administrator. I did ask Sandra, my supervisor, because different principals are handling it differently, and we're going to need, especially now, we're going to need to be able to get back in to make more materials. And for some of you, that includes like cutting things out and laminating and all that kind of stuff. And so that's not going to happen in like a grab and go situation. And so with the new announcement, I will facilitate with principals that we need to provide you guys an option to do those things. And then hopefully we can get you the time. If not, I will see if I can figure out an option for some rotating in. If you needed to make copies in the special ed department at the district office, that would be fine with me. We don't have access to things like laminators and stuff like that though. So that part would be as helpful to you. And we don't have cool, materials like construction paper and fun. We have crap materials like clips and giant rubber bands for files, and you guys don't want any of that. So so
and Shelley, Ron Literal from West just weighed in, and he said that they check with admin. But I think they're getting different messages from admin, so that would be great if
that's true. And some people are being told they can't come in, and for other people it's fairly easy for them to come in. So that's the part where we need to, like Lori, I will talk to Chris and let him know that you're going to need more than 15 minutes. And we'll, if you run into a hiccup trying to get back into your building, you let me know, and we will try to remove that barrier for you. I just said a really long story to tell you that. Just let me know if you can't get in, and then we'll go.
The other thing is, we have another question about Zoom. If parents are in the background, is that breaking confidentiality?
Yes and no. I mean, we're doing it in Gen Ed every day. So we do have a permission slip that I know Speech is using to, or going to start using, because there is sometimes FERPA information. So then parents need to give their permission to participate, that their child participate with them for that. So let me get a copy of that if you feel like, we need to send that to the people in your groups, then we can do that, okay? And Ron, thank you. It is helpful. Just know that since that announcement of school closing, we're probably going to get some new information. Ron commented that the 15 minutes was the old directive, right? And so I'm sure within a week of that announcement, you'll start hearing some new guidelines for access to buildings and things like that. So maybe we'll wait and see how that goes. But if you're still having trouble getting access to your building, let me know and we can help you with that. Okay. Let's talk for a minute about, oh, so I just mentioned with the documentation, just keep writing the stuff down, even if nobody answers, even if, you know, the kid says, I know we have a few students where they say they're going to log on and then they never do. Just keep track that they are being given the opportunity and they don't engage. Track those things. Okay. So let's talk about everybody's new favorite topic. Like, this is the worst. I'm crossing things off so I don't get confused. Okay, let's talk about addendums for just a minute. And you haven't killed me. I mean, you can't. I'm far away, so that's good. That's good for me when I make a dicey decision. But I know that the addendums are way harder than we thought they were going to be, and that it's a lot right now, right? And so just know that moving forward, if you write a new IEP, we are going to provide you with a COVID-specific paper addendum that you use. So you can throw away your direction. Well, you can't throw away your directions because next year when we're back, you have to know how to do an addendum in PowerSchool and we will figure that out. But for now, you can abandon that. You don't have to try to do that anymore. So let me show you kind of what it looks like. Let's see, and we have two. We have a mild moderate one and an essential elements one. So you should be able to use whichever one that fits your needs. So it's the regular addendum. The two big things are, we put that COVID statement that you saw in my email is right here in the middle. And you're just going to put what you're estimating the minutes might be, right? So if you're offering 2 online groups for 30 minutes each, then you're going to say for an estimated hour a week or an estimated, you know, hour a day. I don't know what you have going on, but that's where you would kind of put that. And the big important part is this right here, initiation of services and ending date. So you're going to put the dates that you're writing the IEP, and you're going to put the last day of school, because this addendum will end when we're done and we go back. Does that make sense? So now that we're dismissed through the end of the year, you can just put the last day of school in this blank. So that's what and then the rest of it looks like what you're used to. And we can put it on SharePoint, and we can also upload it into PowerSchool so that you can access it in either of those places. The, let's see, the essential elements one looks really similar.
Shelley, we're asking if people can have access today, and after this meeting, I can go ahead and upload it onto SharePoint. I'll put it under forms and documents.
Great. So the EE statement looks a little bit different only because there's this piece about special ed teachers and related services, because so many of those kids have multiple related servers, and we put in the piece about being able to consult with parents. So, you know, if they need to talk to Sarah Daniels about a behavior issue, or Anne or Heather Reed, or their speech person, we have that all in there. And same thing, make sure you have the start and end date. So that's anyway, so that's what we're doing now. So just abandon the other thing and relax and use the paper one. And then we will, speech would use the mild moderate form, speech only. Anything that's basically not essential elements, you will use the mild moderate form. Does that make sense? Because it's got the right language for everybody. So resource, self-contained, anybody who's not in Essential Elements can use that other paper, if that's clear at all. Are we good with that?
I'm just looking at, if you're discussing self-contained, which one of those forms? Oh, you addressed that. Okay, so the more mild moderate was the first one. The second
Right.
one, we'll just label them like something like
Okay.
EE form
On
and
SharePoint.
yeah, something like that.
Well, you don't have to put the entire date of the whole dismissal because this is only if you're writing a new IEP. Remember, you don't have to amend every IEP on your caseload. It's only if you're writing a new one. If you're writing a brand new one, then you're going to write the date of that, when that IEP starts to the end of the year. If we put it in, PowerSchool, will you be able to attach it digitally to answer Kalinda's question? If it's on SharePoint, it's hard to attach digitally, but if it's in PowerSchool, you should be able to put it in the group of documents and send it in an email. So we'll do that. Emily says she can attach any completed PDF. So there you go.
Okay. Tina's asking if you have an addendum in progress, what should you do about that? Like if you're starting one in PowerSchool, is that?
Well, if you haven't finalized it and you just want to abandon ship, you can abandon ship. And if you're not sure, you can call Emily. She is available and willing to answer any questions that you have, or if you get stuck. Okay.
And then Shelley Jody is asking, does that mean the EE students will fall under 180 minutes per day?
Most of them are, yeah. So we'll have to figure that out.
Yeah.
Because we have very few students anywhere that are in the world that are engaging for 3 hours a day. my gen ed student is not engaging for that long. So, so we'll see.
And then if they're providing weekly teletherapy, this is a SLP, Megan, do we still do the addendum, but just with the same time as on the IEP?
If you're just doing what you always do, you don't need to do anything. And we don't need to, we're not amending every IEP, just the new ones, because it feels weird to sit in a meeting and say, here's what we're going to offer you, but we're not really going to offer it to you. So, right? So then we're going to put this addendum to it so the parents know that from this date to this date, it's going to look different, but this is how it will look when we're back in school. And then, because it has an end date, then we can just move forward with the services as we wrote them originally. Oh, okay. Emily is saying if you're going to not finish an addendum in PowerSchool, let her know and she'll just delete it for you. So it's not dangling there as a draft. Okay. So that's a good meeting. You have Zoom back and you don't have to do the addendum anymore. And you can get a virtual interpreter now. I hope you saw that in my email a few days ago. So things are looking up, you guys. Okay.
We're celebrating the small things.
We're celebrating the small things, and that's it. Talk about documentation. Okay. Last few things are the more meatier things, but I don't think it will be too bad.
A couple, I'm sorry, Shelley, a couple more just addendum questions. Just to clarify, it's like if you did an addendum, I mean, just start using this addendum starting now, right?
Yeah.
And then they're asking if it's a fillable addendum.
It is, isn't it, Mindy? Can you type onto the form, Mindy Cook?
You can, the lines get a little, you have to like readjust the lining of it because it's still a Word document. So I don't know if before we attach it to SharePoint, if we can have somebody make it one that you can type in.
Like a writable PDF?
Right. And also, Shelley, I'm just sending you the updated version. The one that pulled up a second ago was our draft that was in progress.
I know, because
no, you're fine. I'm sending you the updated version so people know it'll look similar, but the yellow highlights are gone and a couple of little tweaks.
Yeah, that's fine. Antonio is a genius, that's true. So we will have Antonio turn it into a writable PDF. But if you're going to do it like after we get off this meeting, it won't be ready. So use the Word one, and then we'll get the writable one ready as soon as possible.
So if
Okay,
you're
so
skilled, you can still type in it. You'll just have to like adjust the lines and stuff
Right.
as you go. Yep.
So I'll upload both of the just Word versions for now until Antonio can fix that, and then he can upload the writable ones.
Sound good? Okay. Good. Okay. So there have been quite a few questions about ESY and compensatory. I couldn't think of the word. I wanted to say comprehensible, but it's not really comprehensible at all. So that doesn't work. We got a little email yesterday from the state about ESY, and just that what we're kind of going to have to do is come up with contingency plans, right? So we're going to have a couple of scenarios for ESY, because the understanding of the state board was that depending on what happens on May 1st, right, what the governor decides with the stay safe and stay home stuff, if that is still in place in the summer, heaven help us all, number one, and number two, then we would have to come up with some sort of remote version for ESY. So we have to have a plan for that. The understanding of the state board is that the governor's plan would be if he rolls back stay safe and stay home, then we would still have the restrictions of groups of less than 10 and things like that. So what we would have to do is have a plan for ESY where we have a lot more classrooms so that the classrooms can be really small. Does that make sense? So we'll have them in more places. We'll have them with more staff and less students, like, so we can spread out, I guess, is the thing. So that's one contingency plan. And we've also talked about when and altering that a little bit if we needed to, and other districts are looking at that too. So like maybe ESY starts towards the end of the summer and brings kids back into school, and maybe we run it twice. Maybe we run it in late June and July, and then we run another one, and maybe, you know, so we're going to come up with a whole bunch of scenarios that then we can enact based on what happens next, because of course we don't know what happens next. And the other thing would be, just so you guys know, I am going to be very clear with parents, and we're going to divide, because ESY is something we do anyway for the kids that qualify, and there are kids that qualified for it before this ever happened. So we're going to keep it really clean, and we're going to have ESY over here for the kids that, you know, need it and all, we already know, and then we're going to have comp services, and that's going to be separate because it's not the same thing, and I don't want to just dump the whole world into ESY and call it comp services. That gets really confusing. And so we might look at, we're just now starting to dabble in what would some options for Comp Ed be, and usually what we're going to do is we'll probably like have a menu of things, and then based on students and their needs, we'll kind of fit them in where they go, if that makes any sense. I mean, it's still an individual decision, but so we may decide to run some things in the summer for groups of kids that want to participate that could get Comp Ed. We might we might provide tutoring next year. We might provide, like, it's going to look a million different ways, but that conversation kind of starts with the ESY conversation and how that might look, and then whether or not we could run something at the same time to start providing compensatory services to some students. It wouldn't be for everyone, obviously, but we would, so those are kind of the beginning plans. We may end up having to run ESY in a shorter amount of time, and so maybe it's 4 days instead of 3, and maybe it's longer than 3 hours. And so there's some things that we're looking at to try to make that work. And we've put that on the superintendent's radar as far as like the next thing to consider. So there you go. And then, and so we'll keep working on that. And obviously, I mean, it's going to be complicated, right? But we can figure it out. And it will be based on each individual student's losses, right? And their rate of recoupment. So we're going to have some kids that maybe only need a few weeks of compensatory ed. And we have other kids where it's going to just be kind of this long, slow drip of compensatory services over time. So it's going to depend on the students and what they're, and it'll be kind of like we do now, where we're going to offer things to parents, and if they choose not to take it, they choose not to take it. But we can't make them take it, obviously. And some of them won't want to, because, you know, our kids that are in pretty intense self-contained settings, you have to provide compensatory ed outside of that, right? Because those are their normal services. So it would mean more time at school. It would mean, you know, after school types of things or before school types of things. And for some families, that's just not an option. So we'll look into it, and we'll start drafting plans. If you have ideas that you think would be good to consider, send those to me, because, you know, I'm just one little person, and my brain capacity is getting less by the day. So that's not good. So if you have ideas, or for either one, for ESY or for possible ideas for compensatory, send those to me, because that would be really helpful. We could have some after school clubs. We've done that before. We've had to run compensatory services for kids for ELD. And so we gave parents the option of tutoring. We gave them the option of an after school club. We gave them an option of a summer club. Like, those were kind of the choices we gave, and then parents picked the one that fit for their family. So it'll kind of be like that, where they'll have like packages, like vacation packages, but for compensatory services, which is exactly the same thing and just as fun. So it'll be kind of like that, like, these are your choices. Yeah, no cruises, Andrea.
No
You're not
cruise.
wrong about that. No one's going on a cruise. Okay. And then
There was a question from Linda, that if a parent has hired a teacher, can she
No.
get okay, no. I wasn't sure what that meant, but that's not how this works.
No, we get to kind of decide what the offer is, and so there we go. No, or I would be paying for like 8 teachers right now. So there you go. So that's kind of where that's going. So I have 2 more things I wanted to talk to you about. One is, I think we need to think about our online IEP meetings and eligibility meetings a little bit differently, because sometimes we're doing them online and sometimes we're doing them over the phone. And for example, we've been having this meeting for 35 minutes, and 3 people have come to my door so far and poked their head in to ask me questions about waffles and not getting on the internet, and something else I can't even remember now. And I'm just ignoring all of them, just so you know. So it's super complicated right now for parents to be able to sit down and focus. So I want you to think about maybe doing a truncated version, like almost like a Cliff Notes IEP. And so this is what I'm thinking, is that we sit down with a parent and we let them know this is an online meeting, and there's lots of things competing for your attention. So I'm going to give you kind of a summary, and then if there's something you want more detail on, you let me know, kind of thing. And then I think you kind of say, now remember, on last year's IEP, we worked on reading comprehension and math, fraction word problems, and something else. And he did well on these things, and this thing is still a struggle. And then you kind of say, this is, right now, he's in math, he's doing about, so you're going to like summarize the PLAF, right? Instead of going through every data point, instead of going through every little thing, you're going to be like, you know, in math, he can do some things in 2nd grade with regrouping, but not independently. Like, just like something some sort of abbreviated version, and then you can say the goals we like to work on, and you kind of outline the goals. And I mean, you could stop and say, do you have any questions about that? Do you want more detail? If they say no, you move on to the next thing. And then, because we're going to send it all to them, and so then they can read it. I mean, if you can send it before, that's better, right? Because then they have some information to go on. But it's just hard, right? Our attention spans in this format are shorter, and people have a lot going on. So we're not going to be able to like read whole things to them. They just are not going to, they're going to understand it less than if we gave them the Cliff Notes and they were allowed to ask questions. And that's also more engaging. So when you're running meetings, you know, shorten those up from probably what you would normally do. I mean, if a parent asks a million questions and they want to be on Zoom for 2 hours, I guess that's their choice, right? Just like in person when they want to be there for 4. But I think we offer parents the highlights, like the big things, and then let them ask for more details, and then let them know they'll get it in writing and that they can call us with questions when they're reading it if they don't know what something means. Because one thing about an IEP is it's a fluid document, we can always fix it. So even if we have a whole meeting and we think everybody agrees and then they get it and they change their mind, that's okay. So
we're got a couple of questions about that besides the waffle conversation.
Yeah, I'm not giving you guys waffle.
Can we summarize the evaluation summary as well?
Yes.
Okay, and then a question about documenting signatures.
So that's it's not a complicated question. We're still working on DocuSign to see if we can do electronic signature. So we're trying to have it not roll out like the addendum. So we're working on that. And then, so Keith, if you're having a meeting and so I've been on a meeting with some of you, and like the administrator just said at the beginning of the meeting on the phone, I'm writing down everybody who's here, and they kind of took roll call. Like, I'm here as the LEA, you're here as the parent, blah, 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 blah. And he wrote it all down. And then at the end, we asked the parent to send us an email saying that they attended and participated in the meeting. And if they can do that, great. And if they can't, then you can say, I'm going to write down that you were here and you participated in the meeting. And then you write it down. Okay. Let's see. And on the phone, the summary is even more important, because holy Hannah, like, how do you comprehend all of that on the phone? So just kind of think about it as the Cliff Note version of the IEP, and then if we have to fix it later, we fix it later.
And there was a question about procedural safeguards, and it was kind of answered. There are versions you can attach to an email and send in SharePoint, but we're also saying if like the parent doesn't have an email, or if that seems difficult, you can mail them the summary to start with, and then ask them if they would like the longer one, and we can send that too. I think just be reasonable about it, because there is the summary in Spanish and English that you could mail out if you think a parent needs that.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're sharing your screen, still share the full IEP document, right? But you could show the section and say, this is what this means, and go to the next section and say, this is what this means. Do you see what I'm saying? And if parents want to slow down and they want to ask questions, that's great. The summaries are in SharePoint, aren't they, Nicole?
Yeah, they are.
It's all up there.
And the evaluation summary is working, right, on PowerSchool?
Yes, they called it something really dumb. So it's called like Evaluation Summary No Disability. That's the title. Isn't that like super friendly? All that means is that it's the evaluation summary, but it used to be listed like, it used to say evaluation summary autism, and evaluation summary emotional disturbance. And then parents felt like we were predetermining the disability. So what we asked for was for an evaluation summary that didn't list a disability, and they decided to just put all of that in the title, which hopefully, anyway, but it is working. So there you go. But that's what it's called. If you're looking for it and you're like, I don't see it, that's what it's called.
And then another question, when we get back to school, we're going to have people sign the IEP. That we will go back to that.
Yeah, probably. What do you mean? Go back to
No,
having people.
it says when we get back to
Oh, I
school,
think
are we
she's
going to have
asking
people sign
about
the IEP?
signing the ones they didn't sign. And I think if we can, right? So like if you hold the meeting now, but nobody physically signs it, are we going to go back and have people sign it? It's a good question, and I don't know. Because if we've documented their participation, we typically don't go back and have people post signed documents. And so I'm guessing that we wouldn't, but I will run that past the lawyer because that's a good question and see what she says. I'll put that on Shelley's list of things to do.
I'll do it.
Okay. All right, so there's that. Okay, and then the last thing before we finish up is we're getting a lot of questions about next year. I know you're probably curious about what kids are coming to you and where your kids are going, but we kind of lost a month trying to get all of this up and running and figuring out all of these procedures for how to do things online. So I'm going to ask you to just hold off on asking a lot of questions about next year, because we're just trying to figure out the rest of this year at this moment. And when we get into May, we will provide you with all of that information. You're not going to leave. That sounds weird. You're not going to be at home again for longer without knowing who's going to be on your caseloads next year. I promise you that. We are not ready to have those conversations because we're trying to figure other things out still. And we're doing a lot of things more often. You know, we're having team meetings a little more often and all those kinds of things because we want to check in with people. We want to make sure everybody's okay and connected and things like that. And so, you know, and every time I send out an update and an email to you guys, you have to know that that's after usually a minimum of an hour to 2 hours of meetings and conversations trying to figure something out. Those things don't just come from me, right? And so sometimes it involves me talking to the people above me or in another department or whatever is happening. And so we're just going to slow down the next year conversation for a couple of weeks, if that's all right. And we promise we will give you information before the year is over. It's just, we're trying to, it's almost like we had to redesign everything, right, to be able to handle what we're doing now. And so that has slowed down our ability to gather all of that. And there's a lot of pressure for a lot of people. So I just am going to ask you to just be patient and we will get you that information. And we will get it for you, I promise.
Shelley, there's a question about excusal forms for people who can't join the IEP. We're still doing that.
Yeah, we need to ask parents if it's okay to move forward without a member of the IEP.
And there's a copy of the excusal form at SharePoint.
Yeah. Almost all the forms like that should be there. So unless you're there and you can't find it and we miss something, that's where they should be.
And then Lori gave information that there's a box at the end of about participating using video conferencing. And if you check that, you don't have to get signatures. So.
Yeah, because that's true when we go over things over the phone, right? We can check that box and say we did it over the phone. So we should be fine. Thanks, Lori Kopaz. All right. So speaking of all of that and everything that's going on, I just wanted to end today and just share something with you that has, anyway, I'll share it. So I don't know about how all of you reacted to the governor's announcement on Tuesday. And interestingly enough, even though I knew it was coming, I did okay on Tuesday. And on Wednesday, not so much. Because this is hard. And you guys are working so hard and you're doing amazing things for kids, but I know that none of us think this is better than being with them. And we all have kids that we're worried about who are in really crappy situations at home that now don't have their safe place. And it's hard to think about all those things, and it's hard to carry all of those things. And it's also sometimes surprising, almost like you're kind of watching yourself. I'm surprised sometimes at my reaction to different things that are happening right now, right? Like some things that happen that for other people are really hard, I like check in with myself and I'm like, oh, well, I'm okay about that. I'm not worried about that. And then there will be other things that aren't hard for some people that just kind of, you know, crush my little soul and I have a really hard time with. And so we just don't know. And we're kind of all in this together, right? And we don't know where everybody else is, right? So we sit on Zoom and we have our meetings and we make our little funnies. I always do that because one of my biggest coping mechanisms is to make stupid jokes. And that's why there's extra gifts in all your emails lately and things like that, because that's how I'm making it through. So we're all doing different things, but I just hope you all know that we're kind of all at the same place as far as like, I don't really have information that you don't have. And the minute I get it, I send it to you. And the superintendent doesn't have information that we don't have. And neither does the state school board. As soon as they find stuff out, we all find it out. And we're all struggling with different things. And so I just have to remind myself all the time, and I want to remind all of you that everybody's in a hard place. And so we need to be lifting each other up, and we need to respond to each other with empathy and with grace and with making sure that we remember that we don't know, we don't know what that person's experiences are like. Even though we're having this collective experience, we all react a little bit differently. So of course, I can't end a meeting without talking about Brene Brown, because that's the theme for this year, and so you're just going to deal with it. But I want to show you this little video about empathy, and I want you to just kind of hold on to it, I guess, and think about how we approach other people when you're approaching parents. And some of you are dealing with, kids that are almost 18 that are struggling with things in a different way. Because I have situations in my life where I've done a good job of empathy, and I have situations in my life where I don't, where I try to fix things for people, where I try to make the uncomfortable situation more comfortable for me instead of being empathetic to the other person. Like, I've done all of those things. It's really hard to do well. So I just wanted to show it to you because I watch it all the time, and it helps me remember how I need to react to things when things get hard. So let me see if I can make it work, because where is it? Hold on, you guys. Oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. I had it open, but I'm not seeing it. Oh, wait. No, I'm not. That's not it. All right. Well, I'll send you the link instead. I don't know why I can't get it to work. I have it. Okay, hold on. I'm going to try it one more time. I'm learning things.
Any sound?
Shelley, we're not hearing the sound.
You're not?
Nope, we're seeing it, but we can't hear it.
Can't hear it? Well, I can hear all of it. I don't know how to fix that, you guys. Ugh, brother.
It looked really cute.
It's adorable. How about if I send you all the link? Does that work? Okay. And you have to promise you're going to watch it later because I can't force you now. You're not trapped in Zoom with me. And that's too bad. But look, Shannon has seen it before and she says it's so, oh, if I hover over the screen. Really, Lori Cope? What would we do without Lori Kopaz? Honestly.
Just
hold
in
on.
general, I often think that.
Right? Okay, so wait a minute. Wait. So when I'm sharing Lori Kopaz, I've done this once before and it worked. All right. I don't know how to fix it. Okay, it's okay. I'll send it to you. Just know that I just want us to be careful, I guess, with each other, right? And gentle with each other because everybody's having crazy experiences and things like we don't know who has family members that may have COVID. We don't know whose family members are waiting to find out if they have it. We don't know, what people's home experiences are like with their own children and different things. Yeah, the earthquake is not helping, right? All of our new round of aftershocks is just kind of makes it worse. And we've got people that live alone for whom this could be more difficult than those of us who don't live alone but might be overwhelmed with all of the people and their energy in our homes and different things like that. So just, parents, all of us are struggling and everybody's in it together and there really is there's no magic answers and there's no easy answers. So we're just going to do the best we can, which you are all doing. So I applaud you for that. And I think about you all the time. And I think about our kids all the time. And we're going to be okay. I know we are. And I know that we are going to find all of our kids and we're going to make it through the other side. But it's not easy. And it's okay if you are struggling. So I want you to honor that part for yourself. And I want you to take the time if you need to take time. And I want you to just project that out. And the one thing that we can do always is be kind and be compassionate with our families and with each other and with our administrators who are just doing the best they can in a crap situation. So thank you for all that you do. I will send you that YouTube link so that you can watch the video and I'll see if I can figure it out for the next group. And I will, we'll do this. It seems like people like doing this. So we'll do it again in 2 weeks, and have a couple options for you to participate. And if there's something you want me to think about to be prepared with for that, please email it to me so that I can be thinking about it and be ready. And carry on. You guys are amazing. And I'm thrilled that if I have to do this, that I get to do it with all of you, and I don't have to try to figure this out by myself. So yeah, so let's keep going on with our good faith effort. You guys are the business. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Okay? All right. I'll see you later. Sarah Merrill, don't leave the meeting yet. See if you can help me figure out the sound. Do I get to see your cute face, Sarah Merrill, or no?
You want to try it now?
Okay, so Sarah, what do you mean? I've unmuted you.
Okay. Oh, okay. No, you don't turn my video on. I'm in my jammies.
Okay, we won't.
Sarah.
I think if you go to the bottom left, down where your mic is,
Yes,
and then there's a little arrow to the right of it.
yes.
And then for your microphone, I think if you change it to same as system,
Then it will work.
I might be wrong.
Should we try it?
Yeah, let's try it.
Try it? Okay,
Yeah.
same as system. Now I'm gonna feel bad. Can you hear it?
No.
You still can't hear it. Okay,
Okay, let's try.
wait, hold on.
Is there, I've got to like view options.
What about that?
Nope.
No?
Still-
I know on Teams, at least, if you go to the very top, you know, where it says how you're sharing your screen.
Yes.
On Teams, there's a little button that says like share system sound. So do you have some
wanna
sort of button
stop
up there?
the recording, Shelley?
What?
You want to stop the recording?
Wait, hold on. Okay, so if you can see my screen, can you see my choices right now?
No.
Oh, okay. So it says select microphone, microphone array, or same as system. Select a speaker, speakers, or same as system. And then it says, I don't know. Then there's audio settings. Hold on.
Ellie, I have a thought. When you went in to share your screen, did you just pick to share what's on your internet, or did you pick to share your whole computer screen?
Well, so when maybe that's my problem.
That happened yesterday. I was sharing something with Jeff when he was trying to walk me through it, and then all of a sudden I realized he wasn't seeing what I was seeing because I had only picked to have him see what was on my internet, not my whole computer.
Well, so when oh, wait a minute. Okay, here we go. What the freak? Okay.
4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking,
We can hear it.
So when you click to share your screen, just so now everybody knows, when you click to share your screen, down on the bottom left, it says share computer sound. And then you can optimize screen for sharing video clips. So that is what I will do next time.
Perfect.
That's what Google just said when I typed it in.
Oh, you're my hero, man. Yay, yay, everybody, thank you.
Is this the new, are people starting to join our new meeting?
Well, I have to open the new meeting, don't I?
I don't think so because I came in early. This is Tiffany, and you can't see my face yet because I didn't brush my hair. But, but I wanted to make sure I got in, so I joined like 15 minutes ago on the second link, but I caught the tail end of the last meeting.
Well, now you get to see the video
I'm very excited. I
that
think
the
I've
other
seen that
people
one.
didn't get to see. I will probably still cry, but you got to see. So
I'll
there's,
enjoy.
all right.
You are still recording, by the way.
Oh,